Same as last week, you're going to go up to the green button that says code. You're going to say download zip. You're going to unzip it. And then I wanted to emphasize, you should always, like, to access our studio or to open our studio, I want you to always open the R project. If you're not in the right R project, the tests won't run. So that was the issue I had with a couple people. So you're opening the .rproj thing, and you can always see what R project you're in by looking in the upper right-hand little corner here. And if it doesn't say EC320 lab2, it'll say main. This is the second time I've downloaded it, so this is main 2. Then you can switch the right one to the one that you want to be in by just clicking that. Before you get started, make sure on either of the cones, make sure to read. I have a couple of sheets of notes about. So I take you through kind of an example about how to build a tibble, and you can see data is still being held in vectors, but now we have this list of vectors, and they're named. So yeah, it's just 2 sheets about tibbles, and then in the green letters, I prompt you to go ahead and do the cone. I'll go over a couple other things, some issues that people were having. One was the tests don't run, and there's a couple things to check. If your tests stop running, make sure that you're in the right R project. Also, make sure you haven't moved any of the files out of the folders that they're in or renamed the files. I saw a couple people were trying to rename these files to say like cone 3 tibble completed or cone 3 tibble Colleen, or whatever your name is. You don't need to do that. Especially don't do that before you've completed the cone, because if you can see, so I'm opening the test file. So this, so the test will read what you've done, and it looks for what you've done in a specific file path. So it looks for a file called cone3 tibble. And if you've renamed your file, it's not going to find it. So it's going to say, can't find a test file, something like that. Or if you've taken these cones out of the folder that they're in, like, they're in this EC320 lab2 main 2 folder that's in your downloads folder or something. If you've taken the cones out and put them somewhere else, of course the tests are not going to find them if you've done that. So, and if you have an error in your R script, so maybe this is one way to make an error. I just have one open parentheses here, and I don't close it anywhere. And this little red X comes up. That's telling me I have an error. If you have an error in your R script, the tests will fail. The test won't run. It'll say that there's an error, and the cone won't knit. So if I try and say Command-Shift-K, it'll say error. And I have to go and figure out where the error is, and I have to fix it before I can knit it or compile it to HTML. And here I could just close the parentheses. Well, so yeah, that red X often comes up. Yeah, the red X comes up, and that shows you where the error is. That can be helpful. Sometimes it doesn't show you exactly where the error is, but the error is around there. And if you have an error in your R script and you're not sure where it is, I just recommend clearing your environment. That'll be important when we actually start making variables. With this little broom thing, clears your environment. And then just starting at the top and executing every line of code until you find the line of code that is responsible for the error. So here I would, run this line of code and see, I'm not getting that caret thing that says it's ready for new code because I have an open parentheses. So close it. There's no more errors. I wonder if I can just have it open close parentheses. Should work. Oh, it doesn't want it. Well, I would just delete that, and now it'll compile to HTML. Okay, so I wanted to talk about what to do if the tests don't run, and I wanted to talk about what to do if your cone doesn't compile. Usually there's an error. And then I think the last thing last two things I want to emphasize. Sometimes sometimes you can be pretty confident that your answer is correct, but the tests are still saying that you're failing. And so you can go in and see exactly what the tests are looking for. They're looking for these things, but also I think just recognize the tests are not perfect. I tried to make them flexible so that as long as you're getting anywhere near the right answer. There's my cat. He's so beautiful. Wow. So I tried to make the test flexible, but still try to point you in the right direction. And sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss. Tests are still kind of in progress. So I'd say if you're confident that your answer is correct, do not stress over a failing test. And then the last thing I want to say is don't rush the cones, and a great way to learn more about R is if you're wondering if you have a question in your mind about how something works, the cones make it really easy to experiment. So you can either experiment in the console with something. I wonder if 1 to 100 works. Yeah, it does. Or if you want to do something, if you want to test some code that requires multiple lines, I'll just say file, new file, R script. And then you have a little test thing just for experimentation. And you don't have to save it, You can just close it when you're done with it. So don't be afraid to experiment. It's not going to mess anything up, unless you save it and it has errors in it, in which case, just trash it. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Have fun doing these cones. The ggplot2 ones are they're challenging, but I think they're kind of fun because it can be really nice and satisfying to see. I think it's the first time we're really seeing ourselves do something pretty powerful with data, and it's only in cone 4. Like I was saying before, something great about using R is that really, really fast you can go from a total beginner to doing some pretty cool stuff. So I'll see you in lab Wednesday or Friday, and have a great week.